Good morning. It's Sunday morning. And I feel obligated to tell you that it's Sunday morning just because, life. This is the Art of Rock, and every Sunday we hang out here and we talk about rock and roll and how to make your rock and roll better. And even if your rock and roll is painting, that's cool because it's all art or art, as we prefer to say. This amazingness was made possible by Angelspit's Patreon people. They are here. They are guiding me through my journey of life, and I thank them. There is new merch on Angelspit's website, and it will clothe your body, clothe your nudeness, so that when you stand before God and devils, they'll go, man, you look kind of hot. Because they're like that. Also, all of Angelspit's Burning Hell, as my cat rearranges herself, is on Bandcamp. Go on to Bandcamp now. And there's amazing shit. That's right, kids. Amazing shit. As opposed to regular shit. Also, boom. So I did this jam session on Thursday, and I would love it if you go watched it. It's on YouTube. Go watch it for free. And it was called Ghost Town Radio. Ghost City Radio. And it's good fun, because I'm trying something different. And I'd like you to watch it and tell me what you thought. And the last thing is, if you like your bombastic, fantastic rock and roll 24 hours, then you need MTV TV. And after this, we're going to raid on over to MTV TV. There's the link. Make it your landing space on Twitch, because it's El Fantastico. Shabam. I will now throw the floor open to my amazing comrades in rock. And I hope you guys have got questions ready. I actually have a great question from Julius. Couldn't be with us here this morning. Julius's question is, how do I make vocals sit in the mix? And how do I give them a versatile feel within the track? So this is about mixing vocals and making them sit in the mix. I am throwing this open to everybody because I have an answer for that. And I want to hear what you guys say. Or should I just start? I'll just start. Okay, so my thoughts on a mix is that I have a theory that if you can reach out and touch the nose, close your eyes, listen to the mix, and touch their nose. Touch the nose of the vocalist. Where does it feel like the vocalist is? Reach out, touch their nose. Then feel where the music is, and try and feel the music. And if the vocalist is like close to you and the music is far, you might want to work with that. If the music is way up here and the vocalist is back here, things are buried. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes I have to go to a visual situation to be able to share it more better. And then I see Adam's hand. I'm getting to you, Adam. As far as actually mixing it and pushing it into the mix, that's compression. I have a theory that you can never compress a vocal too much. You can compress it, then compress it, then compress it again, and you're fine. As long as it's right in there. Making it work in a mix comes down to EQing a lot as well. Compression and EQing, and I haven't even talked about effects, because I don't think effects are important, but I don't think they're a deal breaker. Making sure that they are... If the song feels like it's here and it's compressed and it's pumping and tough, compress the vocals a lot. If it is a spacious song and it's beautiful and there's a lot of space, compress them a little less. Make sure that the EQ is appropriate to that vocalist. My thoughts are vocals are actually the first thing. So make sure that vocal sounds beautiful, then add your kick and everything else up around it. And make sure those things aren't cutting into the vocals. Sometimes I will cut around about 400 from vocals. I cut 400 from everything because that's where the mud is. I feel like I'm rambling. Adam, take it.
Side chains help too. Agreeing with everything that Carl said. You know, Carl, when I was working on the Skeleton Closet record, I had given you a couple of tracks to listen to, and one of the first things that you said was make the vocals louder. Like you said, oh, you know, like it sounds good, but it like bring up those vocals, man. Like you got me to think like pop music, how like in pop music, the vocals are really the standout thing. in the track, right? That's the part that people sing along with. As Carl said, to think about it visually, you want the vocalist to be standing front and center on the stage, just like you're looking at the band, and use that visual sense of placement for your audio to get the band pocketed around it. So what I'm saying about side chains is you use the vocal track itself to trigger a side chain compression onto the bus that is basically your whole track, minus perhaps the drums and the bass where the frequencies don't mix as much, but even some of that. So you sidechain that so that it ducks just a little bit underneath the vocals. So when the vocalist is singing, everything steps back a tiny bit, and when he stops singing, it all comes back out to the front.
Yes, thank you. I forgot to mention sidechaining. That's really important. I actually have 2 sidechain buses going when I do a mix, and the kick and the subs go through. I don't touch them. Same with the drums. I won't touch them. The main kit, but I'll also have percussion, which is other stuff, which is chitter chatter stuff and loops, and unless that loop is the 4 frontal core ingredient. That will go, also the blippy blips and the synths, they go into one sidechain. Then I have stuff like guitars, big guitars, and the bass, because I'll have a sub bass that I don't touch. Then I have the bass that is operating in the same field as the vocals. So the guitars and the bass, they will go into another sidechain. They'll go into another bus. And all that blippy bloppy stuff, I will sidechain it hard against the vocals. So when the vocals come in, they're going to drop like 6 dB. I will usually set it to that sidechain to be maybe minus 15 with 3:1 compression. So that when that vocal comes in, it's going to push it back. Only 6 decibels, but you're going to hear 6 dB. You'll hear it. As far as the guitars and the bass on their sidechain, I will set that sidechain's compression to be maybe minus 12 at 2:1. Or I always use fast attacks and fast decays because when it's out, I want it to come out. And when I say fast, I mean like 50 milliseconds. Maybe I'll put even 10 milliseconds at the head, but 50 at the tail. So when those guitars and the bass are up against the vocals are going to push them back just a little tiny bit. So they're just going to lean back. And if I have a busy backing vocalist, because backing vocalists are awesome, and or vocoders, I'll put them into another sidechain as well, and I'll sidechain them pretty heavy. So when the vocal is in, all of that other stuff pulls back, and when it's just the backing vocals, they come up. I have something else to say, but that doesn't matter. Eric, I want to hear what your brain is saying to you.
Well, thank you, Carl. I wanted to add what you were saying, cutting the vocals, and you cut everything from 400. I believe you said 400, but
just take a
bump. Yeah. I like to when you're EQ. I think a common mistake is if the vocals aren't sitting well, people tend to put the level meter up and try to get them either higher or lower, when sometimes what you need is just to EQ them. A lot of vocals like to sit in that 1500 range up, maybe. Cut that low, bassy, muddy sound out of them, and just doing that and EQing a little bit in there will actually brighten the vocals and bring them up front more, as opposed to making them not sound like sit right. If you keep raising and going down, I've just noticed, even like mixing myself, that's a problem. But yeah, just EQing to get that brightness out of the vocals to make them sit in front of the rest of the music, I think helps.
Thank you, Eric. Adam, what you got?
I have now, because I was going to comment. You're talking about setting the attack and decay on the compression. I think that's a super important thing, and having that little bit of grace on it. It has to have that little bit of tail to let out. It's like you don't really want to hear it, but you know it needs to have that to carve out, and that release time is super important on side chains, and especially when you're side chaining instruments off a kick to make the buzzy sound, you know, kind of thing go whoop whoop whoop. Like it's all about release time for that. On the EQing thing, so here's one of the weird tricks that I discovered that I like doing on my voice, because I have a deep voice. I don't know how well it would work on somebody with a higher voice. I kind of, you know, I have a lot of high frequency hearing loss anyway, so I can't really hear okay. And so I just kind of cut. I do a pretty hard cut around 14 or 15K, and then I boost all the high frequencies. So everything that's coming right up in that air, you know, I call it the air frequencies. It's the frequencies where it's like, you know, and so what I do is I cut it off so that I don't have the, you know, dog whistle frequencies in there anyway. But then I bump the EQ up into that cutoff so that I get more brightness out of the air frequencies. And it sounds really good under compression when you do that, because then those quieter frequencies kind of come together more. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Cutting it off, boosting it, and compressing it.
Can I add something to that? Do you ever use, this is an open question, exciters are really excellent as well, because if there's an area that's really weak with the frequencies, like you can use a multiband compressor and that's going to help a lot. And using a multiband on a vocal I think is a great idea, but you know, you have to go through and make sure that those frequencies you don't want are still in there, because a multiband's going to turn those bits up, like the medium lows. Or you could set the multiband to say, hey, look, don't compress anything in the 400 range. But exciters are really good as well, because they will take an area that is harmonically weak and they're going to boost it. They're going to give it sizzle, literally sizzle. But I will say that my mastering guy has told me to lay off, never use stereo spreads when it goes to mastering. Never, 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 never. And never go super easy on the exciters, because they'll use exciters at the mastering stage, and when you've got exciters on exciters, you start getting phasing problems, and it starts sounding awful. So they're a last thing to use, especially on the keys, like on synthesizers and stuff. Like you just want to excite that stuff to make it go chang, but that's getting into mastering territory, and we are not talking about mastering, because as you know, I always say get a professional to do mastering. Yeah, Adam, go.
My thought on that, as you say, it's definitely better to save the exciters and stuff for later, save that for the mastering. And even then, you know, a little bit of exciter goes a long way. I don't think I've ever used more than like 2.5% on an exciter, you know, to give it a little bit of tape fuzz or something like. But I mean, I think if I was doing Angelspit and more distortion stuff, more exciter would work better. But on the cleaner, jazzier side of my stuff, definitely less exciter was working well. Carl?
There's another one as well, which is plate reverb.
Oh yeah,
And
I love plate reverb.
Plate is great, especially on vocals. No one uses plate, they just go room or hall. I think rooms and halls are awful. Plates are great, because plates are, even the fake emulation is still very good, because plates they can act like an exciter without actually adding frequencies into that's going to fudge stuff up in the mastering phase. So if you add a really short, thick plate to a vocal, and you focus it on an area, like Eric said, you know, like 1,000 to 5,000, and you just get rid of everything in that, you EQ that plate out, so the only thing getting that plate is the vocal. it's going to add stuff, and you can make it really, really short. And that I needed to talk something. And because plates are stereo, you can also add a stereo effect to the plate, and that's going to make the vocal spread really nicely. I wanted to say, if you listen to a lot of movie trailers, you'll hear sidechaining, and it's like radio sidechaining where they do it pretty hard. And one of my favorite sidechainings is actually from the trailer to Force Awakens, the first Star Wars in the 40 years after part. Listen to that trailer really carefully, and you'll hear the music come in, and then the vocal push it right back. Like, listen to it. Just put it on headphones. Don't watch the visuals. Just listen to it, and you will hear that compression push that music down. Really drastically push it. If you do your side chaining right, you're not going to hear it. And if you take it out, you will hear that it's not there, because suddenly everything's in the place of the vocals. But because this bus, which is your bass and your guitar, it's only side chaining a little tiny bit, you don't really hear it. But because this one over here that's got your synths and your blippy stuff and your little percussion, it's side chaining pretty hard. You're not really going to hear that either, because everything else is filling the space up. As the vocal thing in, everything stays, core and center. I could go on about this for days. If anybody has a question they want to throw in, or even a something else, let me know. Eric, Rob, go.
Yeah, I was just going to say that sometimes the basics are more important than you realise, and when I'm recording artists, they want to get in the mood. They want to feel the music before they sing. And you'll have a few takes, and you realise that they're really finding the groove. But they'll only find that groove effects usually, because it makes them feel confident and makes them feel empowered. The problem is you don't want to be recording all of that shit. You want to record clean as well as the effects, so you got more to play with when it comes time to mix it down. I've had so many problems in the past where people send me their vocals track with effects already applied, and it's very limited to what I do with it, especially if they've had purposeful or unpurposeful bad microphone technique, where they've capped out the microphone because they're too close or they're going loud. And sometimes that's desirable, sometimes it's undesirable. But if they're recording it with effects on in the recorded track, there is very little you can do with that because it's toast. So it's always good to get them to record clean as well as effects done.
Totally agree. That's a really good point. Let's just take a step back there and talk about the initial, I'm going to record my vocals, and let's go product placement. And you get the sugar ones as well, not sugar-free, because sugar-free has got something in it that makes your mouth dry. If you have something that you're sucking that keeps your mouth wet, it's very important. Have water on standby. I try really hard not to drink. I might have a drink before just to take the edge off. And you have to go into it going, I'm going to record a vocal and it's going to be killer. I also do a thing a lot. I see your hand, Adam, where I will try and figure out the character that is singing this song. Here's Walt. Letting Walt in. That there is a character singing this song. Who is that character? What is that character to become that character? To get in the space. And, like Rob said, putting, doing effects, putting a big chorus or a delay on your vocal is going to give you confidence. Welcome, Walt. We're talking about vocals and about recording vocals. So you're welcome to jump in after Adam. Hold on. That's really important. And I was doing a vocal the other day, and it's like, it takes me, I will do the first recording and there's 6 takes, and I go, this is shit, I hate it all. Delete it. I will do the second recording, and what I'll do is I'll start it if I'm recording verse 1, and verse 1's always the hardest because I'm finding the character. 4 bar before, and I finish it at the end of the verse, and I just loop it. And I just keep going, and I will do 8 takes in the second recording, and they're all crap, and I get rid of them. And then the third recording, I will probably hit it around about take 6, and I will do, but take 6, 7, 8, and 9, they're the ones I'll be picking from it. And just like Rob said, you've got to record it dry. You've got to record it so the loudest part of your vocal is -6. Like if you scream or holler or clap, it's -6. Because, you know, you can fix that shit up later, but fixing up distortion is a pain in the ass. And yeah, you've got to think, it's tricky because you got to get into character. And I will say that the amount of times I've got somebody who is compressed, distorted, whatever their vocal, I can't use that. I can't run it through the vocoder. There is no sonic information for me to go in there and pick that stuff out. Can't use it. So every vocal starts raw. I think, I don't know who was first here. I think Adam. Okay, Adam, I'm throwing it to you. Go.
Okay. I'm one of those cats that's kind of guilty of recording with the effects on. The Voice Live gives you an option to record with the effects on. Like it'll send out both tracks, like with effects and without effects. So you know the vocalist, if you're using a Voice Live Play, the vocalist can be monitoring with the effects, but the dry will still go to the second track on your recording.
Can I ask you a question? So you're talking about the TC Helicon Voice Live?
Yes.
Do you have the rack version or the?
I have the Stomp Box version.
All right, great.
Play.
That's interesting because I always go straight into the desk, and I will have safety compression on my vocal, and I will dial in maybe fucking -3, you know, 6s to 1 or something, just in case something slams in there. But that's interesting, and there's no right or wrong here. It's just interesting that you go through an effects unit first. I'm just saying that's interesting because that's your jam. I mean, maybe I should try starting to do that.
You know, part of the reason that I do it is because the Voice Live Play acts as a recording interface itself. It's USB out, multi-channel, so it gives you a lot of options just as an interface.
Wow.
Yeah, I use it all the time. Like I do all the voiceovers for MTV TV and that kind of stuff with the Voice Live. I just turn off the effects. I use it just on a sort of basic, like a little compression, a little, you know, little bit of verb to make it sound a little more lively.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic tool, man. It's a fantastic tool. So, yeah, I find it much easier to use the Voice Live as a recording interface for vocals than to set up the, you know, I have a, ART interface that's quite nice and has a nice little tube compression thing in it and all that kind of shit. But ever since I got the Voice Live, I haven't used the other one, and I did all the vocals for my record on this, and I recorded it with the effects, which I know probably drove you crazy doing the reverb.
Yes, it did, actually.
Yeah. I feel bad about that, but just, you know, it's my first record with vocals, so
I'm effect shaming you.
The fact that I did vocals on it at all is a step.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's great, baby. It's fine. This is a really interesting conversation about effects units, but we're going to get to that later. Rob, I see your hand. I'm going to throw to you after Alex. Eric, hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me slowly. Hit me quick. Hit me.
Just wanted to add, Carl, what you were saying with the confidence. I think that's a huge thing in vocals. A lot of times people try to come in maybe a little too technical, trying to hit every note. Just having that confidence and maybe going a little off is fine. A big confidence booster is definitely, and don't think it's cheating, every single person uses some kind of auto-tune effect. I think that's essential, Carl. You don't need I use Waves Tune, and it just, if you're singing good, you're singing well, it's going in. It helps you loose. If you hit a note that's half a note off, it keeps you going, and it builds that confidence. And a lot of times, if you're a good singer, you can turn it off, and you'll hear like, "Hey, I'm in key anyway." But you know, it's if you're on the radio and that pop, if you're going for that pop, I think that's essential. And a little reverb on it also builds some confidence. And you don't want to go over in reverb. Just a little bit adds so much space and just makes you, like when you're in your phones and you're doing it, I think builds confidence up. Oh, go ahead, Carl.
No, you're going to finish, then I'm going to interrupt you.
I had one other thing I wanted to add before saying, if you're setting out to mastering or whatever you're doing when you're recording your vocals, I believe it's key to actually also cut out all that dead space between your vocals. Like if you're recording a verse or you're recording the answer question thing where you're doing one line and you record another line, you go back, definitely cut all that dead space out. That you can hear that. I mean, you might not think you can hear it, but you can definitely hear it. And if you cut all the empty space out, it's tedious, it takes a while, but cut all that space out and then go back through and automate all your vocals so they're the same length. Again, I like to do that manually, just cutting pieces out. If I spike a voice somewhere, just cut around that and just lower that little bit and just go to the song, and it makes the world of a difference, I think. That's it.
Okay. Firstly, I totally agree with you. I heard from a producer, and he may have done Thriller, I can't remember, but he said he cuts out every breath. Every time you breathe, and they will leave one in there. And that's the important one. So there is one breath. Secondly, yeah, I use auto-tuning. Obviously, I do it in post, but the best chorus you'll find on your voice is when you leave your raw vocal in there with the auto-tune. You might bring your raw original one down. So those two will add the best chorus you've ever had. Obviously, your auto-tune one's going to be forefront, and your non-auto-tune, you may need to knock it around a bit, is going to be behind it. Secondly, I'm 3, I can't remember. I actually also go through and literally, because I noticed Adam talked about his the clip from his lip ring. I have a gap between my teeth, so I don't have sibilance. I have a whistle. So, because I whistle, I will go through and cut out every sibilance, and I will manually drop the volume 6 dB of every single whistle. And because sometimes when you sing, there's too much sibilance, I'll cut there. So it's just because sometimes when you sing, I'll make them as short as I can. If there's multiple vocals, all of the S's and the T's line up. If there are backing vocals, I cut the S's out altogether, cut them out because I don't need them. And I had something else and I don't remember what it was. And before I throw it to you, Alex, and then I'm going to throw it to Rob, I will say, listen to the song I quoted you was With Your Rhythm Stick by Ian Dury and the Blockheads. It's late 70s new wave punk, and it's amazing. It's an amazing track. I want you to listen to this track. Listen to the bass. Everything about the track is so good, especially his vocals. And I've brought this up before. Listen to the way this guy delivers his vocals, the way he is not in tune, and then he's in tune. So, and PJ Harvey, this is getting into another territory. Alex, stop me from talking anymore. Then I'm going to throw it to Rob.
Yes, way less technical, but it helps me to have some support, push the record button and put the pointer back in the start, because then I don't have to have this back in my head, and you're not really in lockdown. It really helps, at least me. And also, if there's someone else in the room, it boosts my adrenaline and the vocals get a bit more exciting. That's it.
Totally. Rob, what you got?
Something a little bit out of the box that I've found useful is having a second mic setup. It doesn't really matter whether it's good quality second mic. You set it up, and sometimes I've ended up using that instead of the clean recording. And I've also done it with webcams. So if you're talking about B-roll for making videos on the cheap last week, it comes back to the B-roll. I've actually used vocals out of B-roll from a webcam instead of the main mic.
Huh. Cool. Thanks, Rob. Adam.
So a couple of things that you guys have me thinking now. So Ronnie, actually, because I just did that. I just finished a new video for one of my songs, and I used the sort of B-roll from doing the live shows because it was all recorded on green screen. So I just grabbed that and use it with different backgrounds, which is pretty great. The second microphone trick, that was the Black Keys did a brilliant job of recording their vocals, and what they did is they record the main vocal, like the lead vocal. He's got, you know, his condenser mic there, and then they shot in an SM57, you know, the instrument mics. They shot in an SM57 over the top of that thing to get that kind of crappy SM57 weird frequency curve thing that it does that sounds great when you mic a Marshall, right? And they mix that vocal in to get to use that for the instead of like an exciter, basically they're using that for the microphone sound itself, the qualities of the mic itself, which I thought was very clever. On the subject of autotune, which is a rabbit hole we could really run down, I might, how do I say this? I'm not opposed to using autotune as an effect, or to fix, to make a recording perfect kind of thing. But I want to stress what Carl was saying about the imperfections really making a song more characteristic. Like, I feel one of the problems in pop music is that everything is auto-tuned to the point that it has no character, it has no soul. And the way that you get soul and emotion into your music is by the wavers and the off pitch and the cries and the fries, the fry and the cry and all that stuff, the stuff that makes a human being on the microphone. And my final thought on autotune is that if you're using it in such a manner that you cannot deliver that performance live and do it consistently, then it's probably not a good idea. I see a lot of thumbs on that one. Yeah, but it is about, how do I say this? It's a very, very useful tool, but with caution, you can really delete the soul of your sound using it.
Okay, thank you. I want to talk about this. And this is about auto-tuning and confidence and all of that sort of stuff. Okay, so when I auto-tune, I use Cubase, and I actually use Cubase 5. The version of Cubase I use is 10 years old, just because it talks my crap better. Don't ask, and it works. And I just don't like new software because it fucks with my life. Anyway, what I'll do is, it's got the little bars where your notes are, and I will cut just a part of the song, the part that pitch that I want to hit, and I will do just that part. So if I'm like hitting a line, when I go into that, I don't touch it, but when I'm sustaining that note, I'll touch it, and at the end I'll let it do its thing. Because when I'm comping vocals, this is all about emotion, because the job of music is to speak this language of emotion, and all of these other languages too, but it hits the human soul in this manner. And that's why when I record, I do it in a loop, so I can listen to track 9, take number 9 of the third time I've tried to get it right, and I go, yeah, okay, how does it make me feel? Does this hit me? Then I'll listen to 8, and I will not listen, like, I will listen to the actual timing, and when I get to that stage, I've got the timing and the pitch hitting down. But it's the way it's delivered that is mission critical. Like, that's what you need to pass on this emotion. and that's maybe why I'm not amazingly good at this. I'm vaguely okay at it, but yeah, listening to those things and looking for that emotion and looking for it to hit. And I will go through all of these different takes trying to find those things that make me go, bam. Either it gets the emotion across, it gets the punchline across, it gets the joke across, it gets the thing, there. Because sometimes I'll say something as a throwaway, I don't give a fuck line, and it's like, that's the one that works because it hammers it home. And it might not be in tune or in time. I can fix that stuff a bit, but sometimes, it's got. I could ramble here. Adam, go. I'll let you ramble instead.
There we go. I'm very good at rambling
yes.
too. I want to support what you're saying there. Like, when I was working on the Skeleton Closet, I discarded tracks that I thought were technically better singing in favor of more emotional sounding takes. Like some of the takes on there is like in one of the songs I like literally broke down and started crying when I was recording it at sort of the end of it, and I left that take in.
Yeah.
Like, it was the best fucking take, and it still gives me chills. And if I had used a different take, I wouldn't get the chills at the end of the song that I get when I listen to it.
Okay, so for someone to do that, you have to take a risk. And music is all about, as we are artists or interested in this, it's all about taking that risk. And taking a risk is really hard, and it doesn't matter how good or bad you think you are, because we all think we're crap, and we all hate our vocals, and that's normal, unfortunately. You have to take a risk. And I could play you, if we had more time, because we actually have to wrap this up soonish. If I know all of us could play examples of, here is a song that cracks my heart in two, and the vocalist is totally whack, but you don't even hear it because of the it's because of the imperfection and the sincerity of the track, or it makes you want to rip someone's throat out. I could pick the vocal takes of Rage Against the Machine's 2 bits, but I will not, because they absolutely hit the mark. I could just ruin Bjork's mic technique, but what she does, her ability to transmit joy, few people have this magical ability, and apparently she does it on a 58 jumping around the studio, and they spend days trying to clean the take up because she nails it, apparently. Yeah, and then gets into another thing that I remember Reese Forber said, that perfection is the worst thing in music, because the more you try and find it, the more impossible it is to find. And now we have technology that will let you go into the sample, to the actual splice of a sample, to fix it. And the problem with so much electronic music and so much music these days is that the soul has been programmed out of it. And I try and listen to modern music, and I know I need to, because it helps my brain being plastic, or whatever the term is. I don't... Why is everyone waving?
I gotta get going. The landlady is here.
Love and distortion, and best of luck.
I love you guys. See you soon.
All right, see you soon. Yeah, Eric, I see your hand. I totally forgot. Doesn't matter. Eric, take it.
Thanks, Carl. I just this is a separate subject, but just touching on what you were saying with the soul, and part of that too now is with electronic music, especially, is the loudness wars of people trying to compress and limit and trying to get their music to, like, it just keeps fucking going up and up and up, and doing that you're losing all your dynamics, all your emotion that you put into the ups and lows of a song, and making everything, like I said, side thing, but just with that emotion you're saying with the vocals and just everything, it seems like it's being lost. That was pretty much it. Yeah, just compressing and limiting the shit out of everything and getting rid of all the human emotions, just making it completely robotic now. And even with autotune or whatever you use for that, people pump that up too, which takes it away. If you use autotune as a tool, like Adam was saying before, instead of using it as what you need, there's a big difference between the two, between humanity and losing that.
This is such an interesting topic, because like the trend is, and listen to Joel Zimmerman, aka Deadmau5, talk about this. He hates modern music and he hates EDM because it is so compressed and so destroyed, and he's a bloody good musician. And he will talk about how the expectation of clubs and DJs and the audience is to hear music that is sonically crushed. That is the expectation, and I see that in clubs everywhere. So you aren't in a position anymore to do a track like Owner of a Lonely Heart that has a snare in it that's like 6 dB above everything else, because it just is. When you listen to the compression and the mastering of tracks from the 80s and 70s, due to technology and the audience requirements, you hear how it has just got more and more and more and more crushed, and it tires your ears. Like I can't listen to it for too long, and I can't listen to it at a volume, because it's like, dude, this is fucking killing my eardrums. And I'm always having a fight. Yeah, it's drilling into your head. I'm always having a fight. I shouldn't say fight with my mastering guy, because if he says something, I just do it. And he's always saying, you have to find this balance between how YouTube, everything, the audience is demanding, but you have to find a balance as a conveyor of emotion to present this thing to people that isn't going to hurt their ears and is still alive and organic. And his name's David Walker, and he is the best mastering guy I've ever worked with. Like, if you want I'll give you his details. He's insane. Walt, I saw your hand before. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I'm just, listening to this conversation, and I'm a little jaded towards modern music as well. And I think the problem that we're running into, and I just typed it a little bit I kind of lowered my hand because I thought it was kind of a small point, but everyone, our audiences are all accustomed to hearing and now expect the perfection. They expect the moment they hear a voice waver emotionally, they're out. The moment they hear something that's not compressed to shit, they're out, because they're so fucking used to hearing it that real music, emotional music, expressive music doesn't register to them anymore.
Yeah. And also, Rob, if you got something, either put your hand up or put up your little blue hand in the icon, because you're always active in the chats. So I want to throw out something I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to do it with Adam, and pity, because I got to wrap this up in like 10 minutes. I read somebody on a forum recently say, how important is genre? Really? Genre doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. And I was having this conversation with some of my friends, and they totally agreed. Like I said to the Easter Bunny, how important is genre, Easter Bunny? And the Easter Bunny said, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And then he looked at the Tooth Fairy, and the Tooth Fairy said, yeah, doesn't matter. You can do anything you want. Anything you want. Because it doesn't matter. Meanwhile, in the real world, if your music does not slot precisely into the requirement of a DJ, a channel, hashtag thank God for MTV TV, because literally you don't have to worry about genre, but if you're trying to pitch something to an EBM, EDM, glitch, whatever DJ, you have to hit that mark. There is an expectation with the tuned kick drum, with the 909 hi-hat, with the bass line that's going dung 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 dung, da 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 da. And I can bitch and complain about those genres. Now I could bitch and complain about metal, where I hear the drums have been replaced in Pro Tools and they are robot tight. Then I'm starting to get into noise and drone, and oh my god, it's all the same. Every genre has got this. If you don't play the rules, you're not going to get those big hits. And I want to like put a little pin on this, because this is something next week that I want to talk about. That how, as an artist that wants to explore, Alex, save me.
I think it has less to do with genres than with channels. Like, what is the audience you're trying to access? What is the network of promotion? I think you can do jazz metal fusion, but know that you're addressing metal people. So I think that's more the point.
Okay. That is an excellent point, and it brings into another excellent question. If I'm interrupting you, tell me to shut up.
No.
Okay, thank you. And that is finding your audience. Because I'm always said that there are people in the world who share the same thing, the same ideas you have, and I am grateful for you guys, and I'm grateful for the music that you guys make, because I listen to your music and I go, yeah, we're in the same tribe, I like this shit. So if they like my band, they're going to like your band. Butter. Maybe it comes down to the concept of risk again. That this whole damn thing is about risk. I'm going to do a vocal take. It's a risk. I'm going to choose this sound for my synthesizer. It's a risk. Now I'm going to do and present the whole thing like this. This whole big a bowl full of risk. And that there are a lot of people who are going to go, yeah, man, I love eating risk. I'm all about it. You know, we love risk. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I guess I'm trying to say that, you know, Rob, save me. Take over.
Yeah, it's a little bit like we were talking about last week. If you go to a live concert, you want to hear what you always listen to, but the
Hold on, Rob, you're breaking up.
that genre was
Hold on.
mismatched.
Rob, can you just rewind 10 seconds? Because we lost you.
Yeah, stand by. Yeah, I was going to say, like we were talking about last week, the audience wants to hear the same thing they listen to all the time, that one genre. But the takeaway for a night's performance is that one song that you did that was out of genre. And it might have been a ballad in the middle of 12 metal tracks. They'll remember the ballad because it was different. Or it might be fusion, where you did classical Mozart on electric guitar. And they go, man, did you check that out? That was awesome. So having that little variety really is the spice of life. Over.
All right, so I'm just going to ask you really quickly. Alex, I see your hand. I'm going to jump to you in a sec. So what you think is I don't like the word compromise. There's a better word I can use than compromise. I don't know what that word is, but I'll say. So from your experience, you think playing ball on the field by the rules, and then every now and then you throw a wild ball. Did that make sense? Yeah, Rob? Yeah? All right, cool. Thumbs up. Alex, thank you, Rob. I haven't even taken the piss out of New Zealand today. I'm impressed. Alex, what do you got?
I think I totally agree with Rob, but from a different perspective. Maybe you can use your regular stuff, but have like some songs or projects that are low risk and low effort, where you try out maybe more experimental ideas, but in a way that you don't alienate totally your core. That's what I would do, but I'm not a professional musician, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't ever say that, Alex, because you've got a lot of experience. All of us have a lot of experience, and whether you're making money from it or not doesn't matter. Because this is not about making money, it's about making music, and that's the struggle here, is that you know, you might do something that is totally off the wall. You know, Angelspit started because I said, I'm going to do a band that is art. I know the expectation is EBM, and I don't give a fuck. And I'm going to try and offend as many people as I possibly can. And a whole bunch of people said, we like the way you offend us, and we feel the same way. So, once again, it's that big bowl of risk. Eric, floor is yours.
Just real quick, what Alex was just saying about not being professional. Technically, if you've ever been paid for a service that you've done, you're a professional. Like, if you've ever played a gig and you were paid for it, if anyone's ever bought your song, Alex, you're a professional, man. Technically, that's getting paid for your craft or your art. So
I only did charity concerts, but I think it's okay. Just by coincidence.
Right on.
Totally cool. If anybody else has any last minute things that they want to throw in, add in, or ask about, because I got to wrap this up because we're doing ballet in the park. Also, Walt, I'm just going to relay. You said, flip it on its head, one or two that fit, and let it rip. Man, I totally agree. You know, because this is kind of a crazy conversation because all of us are ultimately punk metal rockers at heart. We just want to offend people.
Express yourself, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, hit the genre a couple times, hit it hard, and then just have fun. Do you think?
Okay, this is going to be my closing thing, and if anybody else has a closing thing, you're welcome. But it always comes back to what Duran Duran did, and The Cure did, and Depeche Mode did. Here is an album. It has 9 to 12 songs on it, or whatever fits on a vinyl. 3 of these songs are going to be hits. They are like fishing hooks that we're going to throw into the ocean, and we're going to pull back fish. They're straight up hits. Then 3 of those songs are for the fans that we already have. It's for them. 3 songs are for them. So if you're already familiar with the band and you know Hungry Like the Wolf, here's The Chauffeur or whatever. And then 3 of those songs, or a third, is going to be for the band, where we are going to experiment and push. We're going to push the limits. And the album that does this best, besides Violator, which is possibly the greatest album ever written, is Duran Duran 7 and the Ragged Tiger. And you can go, oh, this one's a hit. This one's a hit and this one's a hit. They're still a little weird, but they're hits, and they were hits. Then there are these other 3 songs that are like, okay, I like Duran Duran, so I know what the fuck's going on. And then there are these tracks that are, what the fuck is this? But I like it. Kate Bush was another genius at doing this. Anyway, I want to thank y'all for being part of this. We got to wrap it up. It's going to be the same time next week, every single week. We're gonna meet up next Sunday at 9 a.m. LA time. Hold on, I'm gonna put that in the chatter roomies, so you know what's going on. You can go, yeah, I know what's going on. Boom. When you target an audience, you can read. You can end up trapped into making music, into making genetic things to keep people. I prefer listening to stuff that that people have made because it was what they love, not what they think I will love. Thanks, Crawling Chaos 13. That came off Twitch. Totally agree. And as an artist, you got to figure this out. But anyway, we got to go. I want to talk more about this, and I want the conversation to be hopeful and direction, not just bitching, because I love to bitch. You know me. Thank you. Let's raid over to MTV TV now. Let's raid to MTV TV and listen to a whole bunch of music done by people who just want to make music, who want to do some rock and roll. And if you're an artist, get your music on goddamn MTV TV. Raid. Bye. Bye. Happy times. Bye. 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 Bye.